But he's wrong on one thing. He said teachers park there. They don't. That was a funeral. Funerals and anything else that's going on.
Yeah,
Teachers
he's
park
about as close as anybody.
across the street up by the parish hall.
Was it addressed to you, right?
But that's where, when they go to
Jerry.
church, when they go
I
at
said, that
funerals,
was Jerry.
especially when they can't use a playground because kids are playing, they use that all the time. I said to him, why don't you put a sign up and put lines like it's parallel parking? And
Hey, girl.
Jim, you ready?
I did.
If we could come to order, not to our meeting, but to an informational meeting. Jim has some highlights for us.
Okay, so this is a informational meeting. The ambulance substation project is required by the federal grant that we applied for, to give an update on where things are at. The agenda for this public meeting will be just reiterating the need, the location, some renderings of what have been developed by Farnsworth, the budget for the project, funding, and then the next steps. If you recall, in 2021, the city took over ambulance services. There was a purchase of ambulances, new and used, the hiring of 15 full-time positions, including 7 cross-trained firefighters, 8 EMTs, paramedics, and several part-time EMTs. Currently with that, those ambulances, everything is housed at the fire department across the street. There are some space restrictions within that firehouse. In addition, this has been a project that's been talked about for a long time with a need to provide services west of the tracks in a more timely manner. We've recently recorded some train delays at the tracks up to 14 minutes, and for any type of heart incidents, that's pretty substantial. And in addition to that, expansion of services to underrepresented areas west of the city. That alone, the absence of Duffy Ambulance Service left a hole out there that we may be able to help provide some assistance with by being a little closer for response times. The location where the substation is going to be, we purchased a plot of land out on Ewing Drive, 2.23 acres of land. It's on the just south of RP Lumber and directly across from Goldwater Healthcare. And so that'll be that front area that's circled here on the. Oh, and I just lost. Apologize for that. Okay. The renderings, the city has hired Farnsworth Group to assist with design and proposal preparations. If you recall, January of 2024, the state passed legislation to allow a design build project. And so we've been working toward that end with the USDA to put all of our specs in line with that design build process rather than a design bid build. This is a rendering of what the fire station, ambulance substation will look like. There'll be 3 bays. So we have room for ambulances and a piece of equipment, and that additional space out there will provide expansion room for the substation, as well as an area for working equipment, maybe some larger training sessions for us and some of our mutual aid partners. And then the lower roofed area will be the office area and the sleeping quarters, the day room, those types of things, the supplies for the medical equipment, and then a decontamination room. This is just a rendering of the floor plan. I know it's not the biggest. It's in your packets, though. You can kind of go through. You'd come in to the office space. There would be right in the middle is storm shelter, which will provide extra security, and especially out west where the winds can be stronger, and leading out to those bays. As you can see on the back side of the substation, there's just the one overhead door, and the next will kind of show that from those different angles. And then moving along, this will house a shift 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It could house 2 ambulances and an apparatus if necessary. The large bay, like I said, for training opportunities as well as equipment maintenance and service. The budget, I think in the packets that didn't really print very well. But the budget, again, this is an estimated budget for budgeting purposes for the bid. And ultimately, when it comes down to the end, the budget came out to be about $2,213,704, so $2,213,704. Some of the numbers Farnsworth gave us estimated cost of construction of $1.45 million. I estimated $200,000 for equipment. That would be inside the fire station for beds, office supplies, the key card access system, those types of things. Agricultural and engineering fees, $112,000. If you recall, that was the flat fee from Farnsworth. The land purchase was $46,290 when it was all said and done. And then the administration and legal expenses as the project moves along. And of that, we were expecting the $500,000 from the federal grant, and there could be more grant money potentially from the Foreign Fire Tax Board and potentially one of the trusts in town. We haven't made it that far yet to get any numbers from those groups, so. Okay, so I think ignore the stuff on the right. I think that must have been in the template. Yep. So I apologize for that. But the project is in the interstate TIF, so there is an opportunity where TIF funding may be used for parts of the project as well. And then the city would expect potentially to fund through borrowing the remaining balance. What's next is USDA authorization to proceed. We're still waiting for their approval for the design build. We have to submit it all, and they have to approve that what we submitted is appropriate for a design build. To finalize those requests for proposals, and then collect proposals and select a design builder. Basically, what that will look like is that we still have a couple meetings to finalize what we want. For example, adding on the access, like with a key card and some security systems, that kind of stuff within the building. And then all those different things that we want, they'll be put out in the request for proposals from the design builders. They'll give us their proposals, and then we'll make a decision based, you will make a decision based on the best design build. And then we'll figure that will give us a closer idea of what the final costs are going to be minus that grant funding. And so our timeline for construction, we're now expecting it to be mid to late summer, depending on the federal grant and how soon we hear back from them. So with that, I have nothing further to present, but if there are any questions. Okay. And if any of the public has any questions, they can always contact me at City Hall. With that, I'll close this public meeting.
Thank you, Jim. This has only been in the works for about 62 years. So.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. We're moving right along, so much progress. At this point, We'll call our regular meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. And roll call, please.
Barr.
Here.
Giovanini.
Here.
Eckhoff.
Here.
Callis.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Cowser.
Here.
Bradshaw.
Here.
Cranford.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Willie.
Here.
Thank you. A full house. We like that. Consent agenda, 3 items. Can you
I would
just,
motion acceptance of the consent agenda.
motion by Kelly, seconded by Bill Callis. Roll call, please.
Barr.
Yes.
Giovanini.
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Cowser.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to the regular agenda, we have first item A, ordinance 2024-017, special use permit for the Castrol Clean and Lube.
Yes, sir.
You ready, Greg?
Good evening. Real quick, if I could, please, Mr. Chairman. I'm Todd Colvin. I'm part of the Clean and Loop team. We appreciated the support of the zoning committee last week, and with your approval this evening, we look forward to being part of the Pontiac community.
Thank you. Greg, you want to give us the lowdown?
Absolutely. Evening, council. The Planning and Zoning Board last week considered and approved a special use permit for Castrol Clean and Lube, which is, they're proposing to purchase the Superwash location, 1604 West Reynolds, and turn it into partial car wash, and they're looking to get a special use for oil change facilities at the facility. Any questions?
Any objections come through from the community?
No.
We've already heard that they're looking forward to being part of the community. Questions from the council?
The ordinance is prepared, probably gonna have to be modified, because I looked up the ownership of the property that Pontiac Superwash Inc., and I went and got the deed to get the description. Do we have a copy of the do we know they're under contract? Did we put them down as contract purchase?
We're not certain if the contract is already signed yet.
Well, then, we probably do have to approve it for Pontiac Superwash Inc., then they can pass it along. That's still the owner of the record.
Correct.
Okay, so we need a motion to grant the special use.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Jason,
I'll second.
second by Scott. Roll call, please.
Giovanini.
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Cowser.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Thank you, council.
Good luck in the adventure. Moving along. Moving into the grant programming and assistance. Jim, you want to
sure.
touch on that?
Yes, in dealing with some other things, our city engineer had an opportunity to speak with Chamlin and Associates, who advised that they had some grant writing services and knew of the Rebuild Downtowns and May Street Capital Grant Assistance Program. We asked them for a proposal to help us construct that grant. Because that grant can be anywhere from $200,000 to $2 million, we felt some professional assistance would definitely help our chances. In addition to that, it would produce us with a completed document. If we don't get the grant, that we'll have it available for potentially the next grant as well. So this, Chamlin Associates came in and they supplied us with a bid for preliminary consultation, grant preparation, and the grant submittal for the lump sum fee of $1,700. I would recommend that we approve this agreement with Chamlin Associates to assist us with applying for this grant.
I will motion that we accept that proposal.
I second.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Barb. Roll call, please.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Cowser.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Jovanini.
Yes.
Super. Moving on, we have a proposal to combine 2 lots into one for building purposes from Michelet. Greg is ready to give us the lowdown on that adventure.
So the gentleman, Thomas Mislich, is the owner of 2 adjacent lots, and one is a vacant lot right now, and he would like to build a pool and a pool deck on that lot. And in order for him to be able to build those accessory structures, he must combine those lots for city purposes, so he has a primary structure on that lot. So he worked with Alan to draft this agreement, and it just needs to be presented and approved here.
And there's a lot of confusion about what we're doing when we do these. I mean, we have people that just run down to the courthouse and say, I've got 2 properties, I want to put them on one tax bill. That does nothing to combine the property legally. If there's still 2 lots, if they sell one of them off separately, then they just divide it again for tax bill. So the alternative is to actually have them go through a formal subdivision process where they take 2 lots and re-subdivide them into one, like it'd be lot 1 of the re-subdivision of lots 2 and 3 of them. And that's a very expensive process for people. They have to have a surveyor, have to go through the whole zoning process, pay for the publication, the filing fee, probably gonna be $3,000 a piece. So for people who wanna put a garage, or people who wanna put a pool like this gentleman on the property, this agreement form, which we've done many times in the past, but, some confusion's come up recently, so I want to clarify. This agreement does not change the fact that there's 2 lots. It's simply, I record it in the courthouse, so it'd come up if down the road there's ever an attempt to sell the lots separately, then it's going to be flagged to the title company. We would be able to take some action if we found out that was happening. So it's a contractual agreement to never sell them separately. Now, in this case, the gentleman installs a pool, and someday he doesn't want the pool anymore, takes the pool down. He may come back to you and say, I want to release this, which would make sense, so that you could do something different with that lot. But, this is a contractual arrangement just to say, hey, I'm going to treat them as 2 lots, and down the road, if I'm never going to sell them separately. And that runs with the land. So if somebody buys it, both lots with the house and the pool, they're also bound with that restriction. So that's what we're trying to do to make it much more economical for property owners. I mean, we've got a lot of areas of town with 50-foot lots, a house and a vacant lot next door. Give them a use for that if they want to build a garage, put their storage shed, in this case, a swimming pool, and it's good use of the property. They probably will combine it for tax purposes. It makes sense to do that too, but that doesn't have any legal effect. It doesn't change their ability to sell them separately.
So Alan,
That's a big misunderstanding.
so if someone else purchased a house in the property and they decide they don't want the pool and deck anymore,
They would be the one coming, they can take it down, come back to us and say, hey, I want.
what would the expense to them be to make that change?
We never charged them for this part. So depending on
so
what we're
it's-
doing at
so
the
it's not a
time,
big deal to them.
I prepared this agreement based on my being a city attorney and what I provide for the city. And all we really ask people to do is to make sure they ask for this before they do it. That's number 1. That's a real problem, people do it ahead of time. And number 2, that we ask them to give us their title work or their deeds or their title work, so I don't have to go to the courthouse and search them. Mr. Mislich did a nice job on that. He went and got copies of his deeds. I don't know, he might have went into his attorney's office to get those, but he brought in both deeds, so we've got the legal description, and they weren't just lot 1 of subdivision sections. So we definitely need to have that, because if we're on recording, we gotta get it right. So we asked them to cooperate on that, and there shouldn't be any expense. You know, if they go to the courthouse and get a copy of their deed, or if they retained it when they bought the property, maybe one of them, this person bought them 2 separate times, or one lot and then the other. So that, really, we don't charge them no filing fee. The only thing we ask them to pay is the $54 to record this thing. So they pay the cost of recording, so for the release,
I was
they have
curious
to pay the
myself.
$54 release fee.
And as Alan says, this is not new.
We've done, I've probably done 8 or 10 of them. The most recent major one was Bernie's for his storage shed. And that's where the confusion came from. I get a call from the assessor's office, and that one makes a lot of sense to combine them on the same tax bill because they're actually building on the lot line. So to assess one side or the other would be difficult. So I told them, by all means, combine them, but that, you know, their deal with us is contractual.
Any questions on this? Not? Do we have an understanding? Do we have a motion to agree?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Scott, seconded by
I'll second.
Mike Barr. Roll call, please.
Callis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Cowser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Super, thank you. Now we're gonna have to listen to Mr. Jake Kincaid on the pump station wall. Okay.
Okay.
Jake wasn't able to make the last council meeting where he was recognized for his efforts in the Gridley emergency treatment, and all the people received a nice attaboy and big applause because
Yes,
of the great work you were in charge of, so.
nope, I had a great crew, and again, that was a really nice acknowledgement from everyone on that night. It was unfortunate I couldn't be here, however, I was viewing it from Miami Beach.
We all felt sorry for you.
I'm sure. So good evening. So I kind of want to give you a little visual aid to understand what's going on here. So per your memo in the packets, we have a pump station at the wastewater plant. We have 2 pump stations at the treatment plant themselves, that where as wastewater goes through the process in different forms of treatment, we utilize gravity for the water to flow from one unit to the next. And then after a while, we run out of gravity, so we have a pump station to lift that water back up to a high point and begin gravity again. So we have one that begins the process, and then we have one halfway through the process to boost it back up to begin gravity. And so what this one does is, this is our intermediate one in the middle of the treatment plant process. And what we did with this one is we took one existing tank and put a wall in between it to create 2 pump stations. So, there goes my laser pointer. The left side, the process water, is the bulk of the wastewater coming through the process to lift it back up to the next stage, which is the activated sludge. The other side is where all our high-strength waste goes, and we have 2 small pumps in there that regulate at what rate we feed that high-strength waste back to the beginning of the process to reduce loading. This was something that we had put in, so when we treat leachate, which is a very high-strength waste, and some of the high-strength waste we generate in-house from dewatering our sludge, that water that squeezes through that sludge has a lot of ammonia nitrogen in it. So this gives us capabilities of slowly leaching that back over 24 hours to keep the plant stabilized, which in turn keeps us in compliance with our effluent limitations. So what happened a few months ago was we started seeing elevated levels of ammonia nitrogen in our effluent. And we were scratching our heads going, okay, what is going on? We assumed we had a biological upset. So we started an investigation of figuring out what was causing that. And after a thorough investigation, what we found was this wall was actually leaking leachate into the process water side, unbeknownst to us, unknown to us. So we figured that out by timing how long it took to drain the other side, and what should have took 18, 20 hours to do was doing it in 7 or 8. Like, all right, where's it going? So then we did some static hydraulic water tests and found that that was leaking. So we had to isolate that system and put a temporary system in place with some portable pumps to get the same effect without utilizing this to get back in compliance. So we ended up cleaning it out, going down and finding that the seal that kept that wall sealed in between the two concretes. And what you're seeing here, this wall goes on for a very long distance. That's a very, very large wet well, so it's not just that piece you're seeing. That rubberized material seal had failed, partly because of the imperfections in the wall and the hydraulic pressures different on both sides, and most likely because of the condition of leachate and the other high-strength wastes have deteriorated that seal. So at that point, it was okay. We need to look at an alternative product that we can seal that we will get, longevity out of. So I looked at some research, and there were really 2 products that would work. One of them is something that we've used on our manholes throughout the collection system on the years we've done lining projects. And another material is something that is serves the same purpose, which is this Raven 405 made by PPG. But this is designed with high-strength waste in mind. This product is specific to wastewater for this very purpose. And so speaking with the representative for the Raven 405, who is Hair Construction out of Peoria, they've got various applications of this product in wastewater plants in central Illinois. So I went and did a couple of visits, talked to the operators, and looked at how it held up, and this looks to be exactly what we need for this application. And this is there's multiple stages to applying this product onto the joints of the wall, and so this product can only be bought and handled by the contractors who are licensed with PPG to be the applicators. So Hair Construction out of Peoria is the certified applicator for this product. They have done the vast majority of all our lining projects in the last 25 years. So we have a very, very good relationship with them. And they came out and we looked at, again, other installations, and we looked at our installation. And they came back with a recommendation on how to fix that joint repair, and with a proposal. That proposal total is $16,050. Now, that includes the city. We will use our vac truck and our manpower to do a lot of the prep work on that. And then if there's inconsistencies with the wall and they need to do additional injections and repairs, they can be done while they're in there. This is currently more than an inconvenience, because it is making it very difficult to incorporate that leachate and that high strength waste back into the stream at a steady rate, because we have no control over it now. So this repair is something really critical to long-term compliance at our wastewater plant. So I would like to move forward and accept the Hair Construction proposal in the amount of $16,050. And I forgot to add, the other product I looked at, this project, since this is about a day job for the contractors, the other product, those contractors who handle that, this is too small of a job for them to come from a different state to do this, which isn't uncommon. They said if you had to wait a week's worth of work for us to come all the way over to Pontiac and station, but it really wasn't, they weren't really interested because this is too small of a project. Hair Construction, since we're just down the road, they can squeeze us in. If we were 200 miles away from them, it might be the same situation. But again, I am extremely confident that this product will solve our problems and on this, and in Hair Construction will do a good job on this. This will be funded through our repairs budget. of our wastewater department budget, which we do allocate funds in that for these unplanned situations. So that line item will cover this.
How soon will Harris start the project?
Once we give them the go-ahead, they said they could be here within 6 weeks.
Pretty much a must-do thing, I think, Jake.
Yes, unfortunately, this is something that we really can't live without. And again, we've looked at products we could apply ourselves to try to get some time out of it, but the reality is we need something that's actually going to hold up to those elements. And this is the worst spot in the whole facility as far as elements is this wet well, because this handles the worst of it. Everything after this point is diluted to where we don't have that environment.
Let's put a big dent in your repair budget, or
A big tent.
big dent?
Oh, no. Nope. Again, this won't prohibit us for fixing any additional issues that may arise in the next year. We'll be fine.
Could this process have been done in the first place?
In hindsight, now that we know how this reacted, I don't think between Farnsworth Group or us, we foresaw this being an issue really. And the main thing is the leachate we treat, industry-wise, we have some of the higher strength leachate. Fellow wastewater operators and superintendents I've spoken to over the years that treat leachate, they look at the concentrations of what we treat, and they are just blown away that we can even handle it, let alone that we accept it. So we have a rare case of a high strength leachate.
And you're very confident this will solve the problem?
Yes. Bloomington has had some of this product in place for 15, 20 years in some spots, and it still looks brand new because they've went through similar situations where extremely toxic environment, and this product has held up. So I'm confident.
Any other questions for Jake? If not, we could use a motion to
Make the motion.
approve this.
I move we accept proposal from Harris.
Motion by Frank, seconded by Mike Barr. Roll call, please.
Lee,
Yes.
Cowser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Callis.
Yes.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, Council.
Good luck. The temporary repairs are sufficient to keep you in compliance?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. A little harder to do, but we're maintaining.
all right. Thanks again. Moving on, we had a housing group come in and local group and talk, and we have a recap of that was in the packet. You want to
Sure, I can go
read
real
off on
quick,
that?
yep. Gathering of those community members met at City Hall at 3 p.m. on Thursday, May 9th. Mayor Alvey, Alderman Eckhoff, and Alderman Barr, Lori Lee from the Livingston County Housing Authority, Terry Sullivan, a Realtor, Adam Dons, GLC EDC, Mark Donovan, the Bank of Pontiac, and myself. We discussed and noted there were limited homes in the market for sale, very limited. I think it was under 10 in Pontiac and under 30 in the county. Some of the reasons discussed were rising costs of construction, current home mortgages were locked in at low rates, which makes selling them and taking on higher rates less desirable. There continues to also be a need for low income and affordable housing. The Housing Authority has a waiting list for all of its properties in Pontiac, and potentially is working on development of another property. It was noted that a housing study has not been completed and would be beneficial to quantify needs with potential builders. As you recall, the city's on a list for the Illinois Housing Development Authority for a housing study that will address affordable housing, and the group felt it would be necessary to take steps to determine the other needs as well. And after some discussion, we kind of decided the low fruit and a good place to start was in the downtown area by gaining inventory of what's available and what could be done to improve the housing downtown. So that's kind of what I took away from it, was to address with staff and to start trying to build an inventory of what is available downtown, so that'll take us a little bit of time to go through.
In addition to that, I've reached out to Scott to work with us on getting a lay of the land, as it were, as he's had a project that has been developed, so we can see more local issues and where we're at with everything. And missing from that meeting was John Kilgore from the high school. John caught up to me later and expressed the problems that the schools have with housing and students and busings and everything else, and quite interested in collaborating with us, or with, not only with us, with the entire area, on some ideas to expand affordable housing and other single multifamily projects. So there's great interest, and we're not alone. Also at the meeting was Adam Gotz. Adam's been in several meetings with developers, primarily more into the Bloomington area and Dwight, because of a project they have up there. But there are some developers out there that we can market and see if there's interest we can draw into our community. And so it basically came down to three phases. It was the affordable housing, the downtown project, and then the single-family avenue that they all felt we could put some input into. And it's all predicated on working with the Illinois Housing Authority, Livingston County Housing Authority, and prospective developers to bring together a better plan. But once we understand the inventory and what's available, hoping that we can generate something that would be, put us on the market, as it were. We have a lot of good things going, but, you know, as the one realtor said, when you only have 8 houses to work with, inventory is pretty low. We need to work together to help build up some momentum. And that was pretty much the gist of it. They all felt that some sort of professional survey on the housing market and land availabilities, and that would be another step that we could go to.
Well, I have an update on that.
Okay.
At 2:15 this afternoon, I received an email back from the Illinois Housing and Development Authority. We've received your intake from regarding community revitalization here at IDA. Hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at our completed community revitalization partnership plans on their website, and she sent me a link. I'd love to set up a time in the next couple of weeks to discuss a potential partnership with the City of Pontiac. Please send over a few times you and your team might be available so that our team can go over the process and how a partnership could benefit Pontiac. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. So,
good news.
yeah, Joe was going to the office tomorrow, and he's like, I'll do some digging, see what I can find out, and then I had this afternoon, so.
Dug really well.
Well, I don't think he's going tomorrow,
Yeah.
so I don't think he had anything to, I think it's just a coincidence.
Well, so basically, I think, as they say, the ball is rolling, you know, and we're going to be rolling into, it's a big area. You know, it's not going to happen tomorrow or overnight, but once we get into the state program, I also reached out to Robin Kelly's office for federal funding that might be available for projects. I haven't heard back yet, but, you know, I'm sure they get more than one request a day, so. But we will have a follow-up meeting now. Once we have a few minutes, I think we're going to have a committee of the whole.
Yep.
Tim's going to set up here, and I think at that time we'll detail out a date for to get back to the state. Anything else to add?
Nope.
Mike, did you have any comment?
No, I think I think you covered it pretty, a lot of the discussion was housing, of course, and of course, downtown upper story, housing being a critical part of our redevelopment strategy down there. Now that we've got someone, we're looking at grant assistance, that should give us some insight there. And, we had a pretty good representation of local professionals here in town. Maybe if we go a little bit further, we should bring in United Way or something like that.
Expand.
Just to get another perspective. Other than that, that's it.
Where would a developer go?
That was the big question.
We've given solar farms a lot of acreage, and last week we just took a residential lot off the list, and I don't know what he's gonna do with the storage shed. It still is in the same condition it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I think we need to be more discerning when we start combining lots and giving away ground. I don't know how many solar farms we're going to have, but it seems like we have quite a few.
Oh, we do out by the airport for sure. We do have need for executive session after we wrap up here. So, any other discussion on housing right now, or we'll put that into the committee of the whole? Okay. Moving on, mayor's comment. I see Liz is back here. How did the weekend go?
Good. It was busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First cruise in was this last Saturday. And, yeah. And I understand the dog show down at the Chautauqua Park was well attended too. So. A lot of traffic around town. That's always good. The other 42 pages of notes that I wrote, we will skip. But it was a good weekend, and the weather was great, and we're all looking forward to a really great summer. And I think that'll do it for me. So, city council comments.
I have one thing. I noticed in the Municipal Review magazine a while ago, I kept remembering to bring this, that we can post our public notices on this local publicnotices.org. Now that we don't have a local newspaper, I mean, perhaps we should explore getting this done. Well, okay, I'm sorry. But still, people need other avenues of getting our, and it appears that this is perhaps free. I don't know. Yeah, it says
it is
cost.
free. Yeah, it doesn't relieve any of the other obligations that we have. It's just one more avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think now a lot of people probably search for those.
Yeah,
kind
most of
things
the legal
online.
publications we do are done because of statutory.
Right, right.
Which is generally in a newspaper of general circulation in the community. So we're public posting on the community here. So,
But
unless
I
they
have
change
seen
the
that, and
statute
I'll
and substitute,
look deeper in it.
that probably is not going to relieve the other publication requirements.
Just another avenue.
I had an inquiry from a beauty shop, and their concern was that when whatever the beauty shop next to the Stillwell building was not available, that we granted these people a time limit to work out of their homes. And I guess they're still working out of their homes. Was that open-ended, or?
I don't know, they go through council action, I don't remember
No,
that at all. I do know the damage, there was some minimal damage to the adjacent property. I don't know if it's non-habitable, there's some litigation going on between the owner of that property and the Stillwell family. I don't know where that's at either. I know, I was following it pretty closely until recently, and I think they changed somebody changed attorneys. I mean, I wasn't involved with it that way, I was watching from the city standpoint. Because Frank, you were on me about making sure they got that property fixed down there at Stillwell Building. We kept the pressure on continually and not quite finished yet, but it's certainly a
Looking
lot better
good.
than it was.
Looking much better.
There's a stairway between those two, isn't there?
There was, I don't know any details, but there were some allegations that that stairway was damaged. Of course, Stillwell's didn't cause that to be damaged, the incident did. But I think the issue is whether it was appropriate for Stillwell's to complete their repairs, and they were having trouble apparently coordinating with the adjacent property. I don't know any more than that. I don't want to speak out of school, but there is some sort of dispute between the other property owner. If you remember, some of you might not even been in the council when it was approved, but there was a previously approved facade grant for the beauty parlor. And that's never been, they've never finished it.
Yep.
And some of that, things that were pictured as part of their problems were what they were asking the grant to fix. It wasn't caused by
Okay. Notes of that, city administrator.
So we do have a need for a committee of the whole. We have a number of things to discuss. Some different public property requests I've had. Centennial Plaza, rec center, generator, some painting at the fire station, and to discuss solar panels on city buildings. So I don't know what day tends to work the best. I think we've been kind of Tuesdays and Wednesdays lately. Next, how about next Tuesday, 28th?
After Memorial Day? Right?
Monday's the
Yep.
20th.
Monday's Memorial Day, yep.
Tuesday's not.
Tuesday's no good.
How
When-
long of a meeting are we looking at? Well, an hour?
Probably an hour, yeah. We could go Wednesday the 29th, say 5:30, somewhere in that area. Jason, is that okay with you, 5:30?
I'll make it work.
Jamie?
Yes, I think so.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, I'll schedule that Wednesday the 29th at 5:30.
Yeah.
I'm pretty busy that entire week, but I can try and make that.
You can ride the bike.
Yeah, this is one of my, this is one of my rallies.
Okay.
And then my last comment is, just a thanks to staff. It was definitely a very, very busy weekend. I think the city looked really well, and heard a lot of good comments about the number of people that were downtown, so.
Okay, thank you. Public comments? No? No public comments? We will need to adjourn this meeting to go to executive session. Yeah. Motion, please.
I'll motion.
Motion by Scott, seconded by Jamie. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Callis,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Cowser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tim must have wanted, Tim Fogel just wanted to listen to the city word. Tim Fogel. I was here, he just left. No, I think he just wanted to see how the system works.
How the system works.
Couple minutes. We'll go to executive session.
Yep, we're back.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're back in open session, and I did ask a question to Mike about the Heritage Corridor, and the 100 miles, the first 100 miles promotion that they have going on. But
Well, there was a deadline that was sent to Liz this morning. And I can't find that email, but there's something we have to do that's some deadline that we're on that we have to do critically, because that's within the next several weeks that this is taking place.
well, we can delve into it with Liz then.
Right, and I'll get back
Make
to
sure
you
that
on
we're
that.
on top of it. Right. With no other business, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Get you to sign that.
I've got it here.
Actually, there is most of the-